Welcome to Hey Dad Podcast. Real dads, tough issues, and a genuine love for a fatherless generation.
Guys, welcome back. This is the Hey Dad Podcast. We're father's voice to a fatherless generation. We're three Christian men who honestly have a heart for young people, and we care about you guys. And we're trying to throw you a life preserver here, not from our perfection, but we've all been in the trenches of life.
Right.
We've all had our gut punches, fell on the ground, got back up, and so here we are. And we want to share with you our thoughts about Christianity, about how to live life, and glean from it what you like, reject whatever you think's dumb, that's fine. I mean, but hey, we're here, we're trying. So with that being said, my name is Rick Rivera. I'm here with Frank Lamelli and Chris Lawler. And we don't have James Lawler today, and I miss James already. I like James. James is Chris's son for the new people.
He's a Gen Zer.
He's a Gen Zer, yeah. I'd like to hear what he has to say about all this. So guys, this subject is Generation Z, and in the last episode we went over this book called So the Next Generation Will Know. It's very interesting. It has a lot of statistical facts about Generation Z. Generation Z is from 1997 through 2012, roughly.
If you're born somewhere in that time, then you're considered Gen Z.
Right. And so there's so many interesting things about your generation. Yeah. Your generation has challenges we've never faced. Generation has facts that are blowing us away as we're talking about them. I'm going to quickly touch on the ones we said last week, or I shouldn't say last week, last episode. These are just some facts. We talked through most of them. So if you haven't, go back to the last episode we just released, and it'll be on there. But so this book describes Gen Z culture. It has some eye-opening conclusions, and it has some offers some approaches and solutions to the challenges your generation will face. So I'm just going to quickly touch on these because we talked over these last week. Gen Z is the first generation not to have any memory of 9/11. 95% of teenagers have access to smartphones. Gen Z is far less interested in Christianity. Gen Z is on pace to become the largest demographic in the world. Gen Z is the least religious generation in American history. Breaks my heart. Okay, let's go on. Older Gen Zs remember 2008 economic crash and the earthquake in Haiti. Gen Z grew up practicing school shooter drills. We didn't have that, guys. We ducked under our desk to hide from nuclear fallout, which I'm not sure which one's worse. I think yours sounds a little more horrifying to me.
And apparently Gen Zs are practicing shooting at schools, too.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of those guys that are shooting the joints up.
You guys grew up, let me go back here. Email is an antiquated and useless technology to you. And we were laughing about that because to us it's still kind of, hey, look at this great invention. It goes over instantly. When I hit send, I can attach a picture. So we're still fascinated by it. You guys, it's funny how you guys see it. YouTubers are your new stars. That one grosses me out a little.
I guess we qualify then, right?
Oh,
we're stars.
I don't know. We get hammered in the comments. I'm not sure if we've reached that stage.
We can't even do that.
Your Generation Z never need directions. We were talking about how we used to get around without. We said used to have a map that was the size of a phone book. Well, you guys don't even know what a phone book is. It was a big, thick book that you have to flip through pages to find out where you are and how to get to where you want to go.
Coordinates.
Yeah, so you guys never need directions, which is awesome. This is where we started getting. Spend almost every waking hour interacting with some sort of digital technology. And the section we read from talked about how you guys can't disconnect. You're overwhelmed with information, bullying, gossip, stuff, and you guys are just so plugged in.
Working, gaming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, recreation.
Yeah.
Everything is funneled through a screen.
Yeah.
With no shut-off time or decompression time.
No.
Right. It goes 24/7.
And there's a health to that time, and that's... So let me move on here. We're going to go on to the other subject we didn't cover in the last one. This one I thought was interesting. They're researchers, skilled researchers who know where to go to get information. So, and I see this because we do have a young adult Bible study at my house. If you say something, they're like, "What?" You see them right off the bat, go right to their phones, and they'll fact check you on the spot.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good part of the being connected. You have a lot of information at your fingertips. So they're expert researchers.
But also cuts both ways, because now they're reliant upon that information, and sometimes that information is stilted.
True. There's a lot of junk out there.
There's again, at home, my son's always talking about all these things, right? And I don't know everything, but usually the stuff he talks about, well, as a very young man from then till now, I've always been the type of person that doesn't go full blown into a lot of things, but are interested in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
And some of these things I have been involved in. So far, we get into these things where he comes up with something and he hates the fact that, and I always have information, right, based on when I grew up. And at first he didn't like that. He thought, you're Mr. Know-It-All, right? I said, no, it's just my experiences. Because I didn't have a phone. I had to physically do stuff to know it.
Yeah.
So now that he's older, he's learned, and he's told me, you know what, Pops? He goes, thank you for telling, because then he goes out and tests that what I said, or he looks it up. And I tell him, that's all general information. That's not hands-on stuff. That's not really
That's the difference between research and simply going to a cheat book and getting an answer, which may or may not be right.
Yeah.
But it's the one that Wikipedia offers, or the one that Chat GPT now puts forth.
Yeah.
And, all these information sources can be contaminated. They can be tilted one way or the other.
Usually are.
Slanted and tilted,
Yeah,
right?
and of course they're gonna slant you if you're totally reliant upon them.
Yeah.
But anyway, that is a fact of life now.
They're skilled researchers, which is interesting.
Yeah.
And you're right, though. Don't trust everything you read.
Yeah.
What did they say? Don't give up space in your brain out for free. Make them earn their way in. And fact check things. That's important. The most popular social media they have, and this is probably going to be debatable: Snapchat, Instagram, and YouTube.
What? Yeah, well, those are three of the biggies.
Well, that was true yesterday, but who knows about
That's
today?
the thing. By the time this comes out, no, you forgot.
We're old again.
And we're still not aware.
It's like the email, we're like, YouTube. We're like, dude, you still YouTube?
I know.
I'm like,
I have an AOL email account. AOL, baby.
I remember that.
Total vintage, steam powered. Not even steam powered, wood fired internet.
You know how I feel dumb now? Is they ask me for my email, and it's at yahoo.com. I'm like, I don't even, maybe I should change it.
That
reminds me when you said AOL, we used to have that when we first started.
Yeah, it's funny too. I never jumped on Facebook or MySpace.
I haven't.
I never got on that board with that ship, and I'm kind of glad I didn't. LinkedIn maybe, but that's more for professional reasons,
I have never been a part of any of that.
Yeah,
I am. I'm all over Facebook.
Yeah.
But Facebook is all gray hairs now.
Yeah, it's the old
all the young people are
exactly.
gone, baby.
I've
It's
been
like a
told,
cruise ship.
with this art venture that I'm looking at, I've been told I should go like Instagram because that's like a great platform for that. And then there's others they mentioned.
I know. I just don't have the desire. I don't want to.
I don't. But then it's like, well, but that's a great platform for
it is.
But then it goes on like YouTube.
I ain't gonna watch that TV. I'm fine with my radio right here.
Exactly.
Words in my head.
Exactly. Well, but hey, okay. This is one.
I'm gonna stay with emails.
This one's interesting about Gen Z. They're pragmatic. It's true.
Explain.
They're just very rational about things. Very. It's black. Like our generation has problems. Like when you talk to Gen Zs about these issues, mostly they're like, you got us. Versus our generation probably been, you can't judge us, or you shouldn't think this.
Don't put me in a box, man.
Yeah, they're just kind of like, all right.
They don't get offended when you talk. I mean, using the right tone with them, they're pretty much like,
I think they're sober and somber in their judgment, which I think is a good trait, actually.
Right.
I've had that experience where it's like, wow. It's like really like, well.
Yeah, you hear me out, you listen, you contemplate it. This one, Chris, I'm going to ask you to read from page 57. They are overwhelmed.
As you can see, guys, we don't have laptops. We don't.
Yeah.
Well, is that the chapter I read last time? Overwhelmed. The one after that is the lonely.
No. Oh, did you read that overwhelmed one last time?
Yeah, I read that one
Okay,
last
let's
time.
read it again. That was last episode, if you're okay with that.
Okay. In a cover story for Time magazine, a teenager named Faith Ann described how overwhelmed young people often feel. We're the first generation that cannot escape our problems at all. We're all like little volcanoes. We're getting this constant pressure from our phones, from our relationships, and from the way things are today. More than 2 out of 3 teens today feel overwhelmed by everything they need to do each week. Now, previous generations could usually get away from bullying or peer pressure, or at least in part. But with social media, young people find it increasingly difficult, if not impossible, to escape their troubles. The corresponding stress and anxiety coupled with the constant bombardment of information can be overwhelming.
I feel so bad for Gen Z for this reason, that you can't get away from these things. If you're in conflict with somebody, you're hearing other people make comments about it, and it's just so on you. To me, that's so sad, man.
But, think about it. You can't get away from it because it's on that.
Well, I was going to say,
And all you have to do is put that thing down.
Yeah.
And you're away from it.
No, 'cause
but you can't get away from this thing.
Right.
But you know what? That's good if you're at home on your own. But if you're the only one without that, everybody else has it.
Yeah.
They're going to be telling you.
Right.
Well, it talks about, we're going to go into it in a little bit. The phone and the internet is made to be addictive.
Yeah.
And this generation has been hooked. And even our generation to a lesser extent.
Yeah, for sure.
It's been hooked. And it's designed so you want that payback of you see what's going on. So even if you're in conflict, you got that addiction. What happened next? I want to stay on top of it. These internet social media companies are intentionally making this product addictive. And it has properties in it that's a reward system for your brain.
Sure.
Yeah.
And they know exactly how to do it. It's
of course.
extremely intentional.
And I sympathize with them because I'm not on it like they are for those reasons. I'm mostly like directions, calling people, texting people.
Right.
I can't see me without the phone doing my business. I just can't.
You can't do it anymore.
Like, dude, am I going to go back to the Thomas guy? No.
Right.
No way.
Right.
Chris, can you read the next section over? The loneliness now. They're lonely. This is what this says. They are lonely. This is
Based on their online presence, most teens seemed entirely happy. Sorry, let me start again.
57.
Based on their online presence, most teens seem eminently happy. But this happiness is often a veneer hiding deep loneliness. In fact, according to psychology professor Jean Twenge, this new generation is on the verge of the greatest mental health crisis in decades. Wow. She noticed a significant increase in depression and loneliness around 2012, the year iGen, her term for Gen Z, became high school seniors. And this trend crosses socioeconomic, racial, and demographic categories. She attributes the increased loneliness to the ubiquity of smartphones and the resulting decrease in personal interactions. Regardless of the cause, one thing is clear: there is a growing mental health crisis of loneliness and depression among today's students.
so.
That is very true.
Yeah, and it's sad. Really, break it down is they're trading authentic, person-to-person, face-to-face relationship for technology relationship, and it's not satisfying, and it's leaving them in that state of loneliness. So they're more connected than ever, but they're more depressed and lonely than ever.
Well, I mean, when you have that and you don't even have to call anymore, constantly I'm at home saying, don't text, call. Why? I know it's easy not to text, but it's the connection. It's the hearing the other voice.
Yeah.
It's the sharing. Yeah, but I could just easily.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you disconnect yourself from that because
Right.
whether you're mad, embarrassed, whatever it is, it's easy to just send this and.
I think the insidious thing for young people is that the ability to throw up a veneer of your life.
Yeah.
Because you can cultivate, curate your
can
space
brand
on
yourself
whatever
any way you
social
want.
media
Right.
to make yourself look popular, active. You can import images from everywhere and anywhere. And now it's becoming so easy to even digitally customize and insert yourself. So you can create this illusion that you're just having this fantastic life.
Right.
Or really you're just down in your mom's basement
Yeah.
with the windows closed.
I was going
Right.
to say, in your room, you could be all these things and you can think all these things, but when you step
Yeah.
out of your room, it's reality.
Right.
And in the house, we try to, it's tough, but we try to have that family togetherness, whether it's a movie or, eating dinner, because, well, we can't control outside of the house what they're doing. We can't control it.
Right.
But in the house, we're kind of try to keep that old school way of,
Yeah.
being tight,
Right.
but it's tough.
No, this generation is completely separated from authentic relationship.
And this is one thing. The other thing is games.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if there's no games, then life is boring.
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like, I don't know.
And many of these guys, that's how they socialize. It's through their
Yep.
avatar
Yeah.
within a game.
Yeah.
That's their friends.
Yeah.
Right.
And, I know a couple of them that have groups. They go in, they play a mass shooter game. They go in as a group, and he'll be alone in a darkened room,
Yeah.
no lights on, but a computer screen for 12 hours.
Yeah.
Easy, yep.
And they come out feeling like he had the best time with his
Yeah.
friends.
Right. Right.
But then reality sits in.
I know that's something that's got it. You got to see that for what it is.
It's not. It's what's causing a mental health crisis.
Yeah.
The church really needs to figure out how to bridge the gap and reach out to people and help people through mental health crisis because it's becoming such an epidemic.
Well, you know what? As it says in the Bible, I believe all things can be done through Christ. But this is a tough one.
It's a tough one.
It's a tough one because before, from my experience, church it meant something different than now. It wasn't really didn't have to compete so much with this. But nowadays it's like, okay, so what does your church do? Like, what is there for me?
Yeah.
How is it fun? What kind of music? Or what do you offer? Like, and if you don't have a youth type of setting where you can actually at least distract them not distract them in a way where you can kind of like surprise them or just lie to them into something, but to really give them hope and to really show them, look, it's not boring. It's not what you think it is.
Yeah.
It's the same thing you do,
Right.
except that we disconnect from this to connect with this.
But here's some of the challenges they're facing. All these social media things have addictive qualities to them. They're hooked. They're addicted to the next little bell ring or the next message coming over. So, and they're done intentionally, and that's the evil behind that. But they have that. Their social skills aren't as good because they've developed them less. It's been more
Right.
digital
Yeah.
communication rather than face-to-face,
Really, especially all those beginning stages.
Yeah.
The being friends with. This is dropping back to the ancient days when we roamed the earth like dinosaurs, right? There was a time where you would go out with your friends and hang out and play baseball and have these little goofy conversations, but you were learning how to be with people.
Exactly.
A new kid would
Exactly.
come along and you would learn how to interact with somebody new.
Right.
And all this laid the foundation that when we got to be a certain age, we would want to talk to girls.
Yeah.
And you had a little bit of base knowledge.
Right.
But see, all that's being truncated
Yeah.
in this generation because you go right to sweep left, sweep right.
Yeah.
And everything is online. And because there's a layer of anonymity, anonymous, maybe that's a word I just made up, but being anonymous.
Right.
I can be anything I want to be
Yeah.
behind that screen.
Yeah.
And often I'm far way over the top, more than I would ever be if I was in person with somebody.
Yeah.
And it breaks my heart because the repercussion of all of this is a generation that's very depressed, very anxious, filled with anxiety, And this is a generation that's suffering the consequences of these things. And that's why, there is an answer to this. There is an answer.
What is it? Throw your phone away? I mean, that's not going to happen.
Yeah. You know what? Let's jump into that, but let me just go over these last two, and we're kind of pressed for time, so let me rush through these. They're very individualistic.
Yeah.
And they're transparent. And I love that about Gen Z.
I've experienced that too.
That's why when we formed this show, the one thing I kept saying is, hey guys, we've got to be transparent. Just throw it out there. Good, bad, ugly, throw it out there. Because transparency is meaningful to this generation. And I respect them for that. And I like that.
Yeah.
So we don't come up here as perfect. We're talking about problems with our kids, our dating problems, or divorce, things like that.
Yeah.
But that's good. Hey, we're here being as real as we know how to, so, but I love that about the generation. So, interesting and sad, I think, all these topics we've been going over. Don't worry, there is hope. That's what you're getting at, Chris. What's the answer? We're hearing about this very sad problem that's developing in our society, that's affecting our kids. I mean, we love you guys. You guys are our kids, really. Mm-hmm. The answer is Jesus Christ. The Bible has every answer you need in life. And if you don't understand what I'm saying by that, find out what I'm saying by that. The Bible has answers to life's toughest questions. The Bible's it's an ancient path of Jesus Christ, of the Old Testament, of God, and it walks you through life, and there's so much wisdom in it. But the thing is it talks about how important community is. It talks about
the Gen Zs are asking, well, then what's his website?
Yeah.
One of the things I can say to that, and it's a personal thing that happened to me, is if you're going to pick up a Bible, most basic thing you can do, and I'm going to share this because it happened to me. I picked up numerous amount of Bibles, couldn't understand what they were saying. I was reading and it was like, what? And obviously, that comes with teachings, like your church, or mentored by other people that can kind of break it down, other godly men. But one of the things that helped me tremendously is, at first, I didn't even know. I would buy a Bible, it's like, I don't get it, right? But there is Bibles out there that will break it down in such a basic way that it actually hits home, and you can actually see your life in there by the way that they're explaining it. They break it down. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, man, it's like going into YouTubers, like going, I don't mean to compare God's word to that, but in a sense, there's an excitement about, I know what I'm looking for, and then you have all these people that do that, and it's like, oh wow, yeah, cool. And then you find, whatever it is you're looking for, or all these other platforms. There's Bibles out there that do the same thing. The difference is, with the Bible, it's real. You don't get to paint that picture in that room of, or be that person behind that screen. It's the other way around. It's going to tell you where you are, how you are, why you are. And believe me, you're going to get hooked.
And it's going to challenge you.
It will.
And it's going to break you down, and it's going to rebuild you. You're right.
The outcome. Right. One of the things that I love, that I've been told myself, is with God, it's a win-win.
Right.
You're not going to lose.
See, the difference is not taking the hours I'm going to spend on Call of Duty with all my buddies online who I've never even met in real life. Right. I don't even know if they're a man or a woman.
That's that counterfeit relationship it offers.
But I think I'm with my friends. So you got this block of time set aside. You can't wait to turn on the screen and just throw yourself into that world. The difference is you take this time and you go by yourself anywhere, by yourself, where you could be private, where you're not there as a spectacle for anybody to watch or listen to, and bare your heart before the living God.
Yeah.
And ask God, are you real? Yeah. Will you show yourself to me?
Yeah.
All right.
You know what? The Lord will reach right down through this world, right past all the technology.
Yeah.
And he'll grab your heart. And it doesn't mean that all your electronics are going to blow up like a scene from, a Marvel comic or something. It's not like that. It says something is going to happen inside your heart, and you're going to see your place in the history of this world.
Yeah.
We're living on a timeline that went all the way back to when the world was made, all the way to this point. We're on the far end, and we can look back through history and see all those machinations that human beings have gone through. And now you're in one of the ones that those people that came before us could never even dream of.
Yeah. Right.
This weird world that we're living in.
Yeah.
I can barely dream of it. And I'm in it, but not for too much longer. But you're there, and it's complicated. Yeah, it's not the world that we grew up in, but the God of the heavens, the God of heaven's armies, they call him sometimes in the word. He's been through it all the way.
Yeah.
And he wants your heart, and he will commune with you.
Yeah.
He says, I stand at the door and I knock.
Yeah.
Open your heart, and I'll come in,
Yeah.
and we'll sup together, and we'll commune with one another. And then I'll give you a real tribe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A tribe of real people that have found the Lord. So that's the thing that's always amazing me. We are three guys, right? Each one of us independently found the Lord in a different pathway.
Yeah.
I didn't follow your path. You didn't follow my path. But we found that red hot nuclear core of God's presence somehow in our lives.
Yeah.
And now we're knit together as a tribe without anything in common with each other
Right.
other than that.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the kind of fellowship you want to be in.
Yeah.
And you know what? I have friends whom I've never hung out with, who I talk to on the phone, who I've never met anywhere, through Jesus Christ, and they're amazing relationships.
Yeah.
Because it has nothing to do with we don't hang out or we don't do nothing. No, it's the Lord through us. Whether He'll need something, I need something. We literally tell each other on the phone, "I love you, brother.
Right.
Praise God for you."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have friends that I visit every day, and I don't have that connection with them. That's
Right.
God.
Right.
I can say this: joining the tribe, you'll never be alone.
No.
You have the biggest thing for me is when you serve God and when you commit your life to God, you have purpose. You have purpose.
Yeah.
And you know how sad and lonely life is without purpose?
Right.
Yeah.
So guys, man, get on board. Jump in.
Please do that.
Yeah,
Try it.
I know it's hard, but man, show up at church. Hey, you got a young adult
Right.
group, you got a youth group, and check it out. And if you don't like it, that's fine. Don't feel hopeless.
Throw us a question online.
Oh my
Right.
gosh, yeah.
You know, ask us what to do. Ask us where you're at, man. We'll help you.
Yeah.
We'll do
Yes.
anything we can to get you connected.
Right.
Yes.
So, because we care about you, we care about
We
your
do.
generation. We love you guys.
We truly do.
and we want you guys to be happy and fulfilled, and not buy into all these lies that are out there. And there's tons of them. So, guys, we're gonna have to wind it up here. Thank you so much for joining us today. We really do care about what you guys, and we think about you guys. We worry about your generation, and there's a solution. And the solution is Jesus Christ,
Yes, it is.
plain and simple. So, thank you for joining us, guys, and we'll see you in the next episode.